Hi, this is Dr. V.M. Vinod Kumar, Assistant Professor of Economics, JVR Government College, Sattupalli, Khammam District, Telangana State. Today I am going to discuss about the banking system in India. Coming to details, yes, the structure of banking system in India. So that introduction. Uh, the banking system of the country contributes to the growth of the economy by turning savings into investments and also by the management and efficient mobilization of resources from savers to investors. In India also, the banking system plays a significant role in promoting economic growth by efficiently mobilizing the resources from different savers and allocating resources to different investors. An efficient banking system is regarded as a necessity for growth of the economy. In India, banking has been divided into different groups. Each group has their own way of functioning, benefits, and limitations, vice versa. Operations. See, and they have their own target market and the different banking sectors serve a different customer space. Some bankers serve customers in rural areas who are engaged in agricultural activities, small businesses, self-help groups, or small cottage industries, while the commercial banks serve in the both rural as well as urban areas. Most of the banks only cater to cities and major towns. Meaning of banking. Coming to meaning of banking, the term bank has originated from the term banci. In olden days, the traders of Italy who performed the job of exchanging money were known as a banci or banchri because the table which they used for making payment was called a bench. According to some people, the term bank is derived from the Greek word banku. A bank deals in money in the same way as a businessman deals in goods. Banks are business enterprises which deals in financial instruments and provide financial services for a price called interest, discount, commission, etc. Okay. Uh, Coming to definition, the prominent definitions of the bank are one is Banking Regulation Act 1949, according to Banking Regulation Act 1949 of India, and the second one is R.P. Kent defined bank. So, coming to first definition, Banking Regulation Act of India 1949. As for the Banking Regulation Act of India 1949, section 5B, banking is the business of accepting for purpose of lending or investment of deposits of money from the public repayable on demand or otherwise and withdrawable by check, draft and order or otherwise. Uh, Coming to Kent definition, he defined that a bank is an organization whose principal operation are concerned with the accumulation of the temporarily idle money of the general public for the purpose of advancing to the others expenditure. Here we should keep in our mind that bank should always do two things. One, it should accept the savings from the public, and it should give uh, advances to public, those who wants to. It should give the advances to investors, so those who would like to invest. These two these two duties should be performed by the bank. Okay, coming to the banking structure in India, see the banks, the total bank structure in India is like this. At the top of the banking system, RBI is there. Commercial banks under the RBI, commercial banks, regional rural banks, and cooperative banks are working. Uh, Under commercial banks, there are two types of commercial banks: scheduled banks and non-scheduled banks. Scheduled banks, non-scheduled banks, which are scheduled banks are which are registered in Reserve Bank of India under Schedule 2 are called as scheduled banks, and these which are not registered under Schedule 2 is called as non-scheduled banks. And coming to scheduled banks, there are two types of banks: Indian banks and foreign banks. In Indian banks, public sector banks and private sector banks. Uh, and in public sector banks, there are two categories. One is State Bank of India and its affiliation banks, and other are nationalized banks. So coming to scheduled banks, scheduled commercial banks are those included in the second schedule of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. For this, they have to satisfy three conditions. It must have paid up capital of paid up capital and reserves of aggregate value of at least 5 lakhs. It is carrying on the business of banking in India. It must be a corporation or cooperative society and not a partnership or sole proprietorship firm. So it should be compulsory. It should be a cooperative society. It must be a corporation or cooperative society and not a partnership or sole proprietorship of a firm. And coming to second one, scheduled banks. Scheduled banks, as I already mentioned in the above flow chart, we can say scheduled banks are Indian banks and foreign banks. Indian banks and foreign banks, if you see the differences between Indian banks and foreign banks, Indian banks registered or incorporated in India, and they have their headquarters in India and can have branches all over India. They can also operate in foreign countries. Whereas coming to foreign banks, registered or incorporated in their home country, not in India. In their home country, these foreign banks are already having registered in other countries. So registered or incorporated in their home country, not in India. They have their office and branches in India. They may have office and branches in India. They play an important role in shaping the attitude and the policies of foreign government, companies, and their clients towards India. Okay, this is the difference between, these are the difference between Indian banks and foreign banks. Indian banks must be registered or incorporated in India. They have their headquarters in India and can have branches all over India. They can also operate in foreign countries. For example, our State Bank of India is having headquarters in India and having branches and operating foreign branches in other countries. So as here foreign banks, here India American Bank of America is having headquarters in America and registered already in America, and they have their own office in their India and head office in their own office in India also. So these bank is having branches all over India. They play an important role in shaping the attitude and policies of foreign government companies and their clients. So these are the public sector banks. Already I have mentioned in the earlier slide. Public sector banks are banks in which the government has a major holding. At least 51% of ownership is vested with the government. The shares of these banks are listed on stock exchanges. So for example, public sector banks, there are 26 public sector banks in India, State Bank, Punjab National Bank, Allahabad Bank, and Canara Bank like this. There are 26 public sector banks. If we see the list of commercial banks or public sector banks in India, State Bank of India, Dina Bank, Allahabad Bank, Indian Bank, Andhra Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, Bank of Baroda, Oriental Bank of Commerce, Bank of India, IDBI, and Vijaya Bank, Punjab and Sindhu Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, Punjab National Bank, Canara Bank, Syndicate Bank, Central Bank of India, Union Bank of India, Corporation Bank, United Bank of India, UCO Bank. Like this, there are 26 public sector banks, but of course, amalgamation of banking, merging of banks, so now the number has come down from 26 to 21. So, coming to State Bank of India, this is the major banking system in India, and it is having near about 80% of share, sorry, 68% of total banking share in India. Government of India entered in commercial banking when it took over Imperial Bank of India and converted into State Bank of India on 1st July 1955. And before the State Bank of India, before 1st July 1955, it was called as a Imperial Bank of India. Imperial Bank of India acted as a bank of government and bank to bankers, banker to banks, and a central bank duties also performed. After 1st July 1955, the bank, Imperial Bank of India, converted into State Bank of India. It was the first one to make public issue in 1993-94, after which the shareholding of RBI has come down 68.93%. State Bank and State Bank Group Banks, so if you see the State Bank of Hyderabad, State Bank of Patiala, State Bank of Travancore, State Bank of Bikanur and Jaipur, State Bank of Mysore, State Bank of Saurashtra, and State Bank of Indore are State Bank allied banks, State Bank group of state banks. The next, coming to nationalized banks. In 1969, 14 banks with the deposit base of rupees 50 crore or more are nationalized. In 1980, again, 6 more banks were nationalized. This step brought more than 90% of commercial banking in the public sector. This step brought more than 90% of commercial banking in the public sector. The main function of nationalized banks is provide to finance for the housing projects, health facilities, and increase the chance to providing the products and services to the people of rural areas. The nationalized banks, some of nationalized banks we can see here: Andhra Bank, Punjab National Bank, Indian Overseas Bank, IDBI, Allahabad Bank, Syndicate Bank, UCO Bank, and Dina Bank. Like these in the first phase in 1969, 14 banks were nationalized. In the second phase in 1980, 6 banks were nationalized. Altogether, 20 banks were nationalized. And the public sector, the number of public sector banks increased to 27. Coming to private banks, all those banks in which majority of stake are held by private individuals, the banks which came in operation after 1991 with the introduction of economic reforms and financial sector reforms are called new private sector banks. Earlier, before independence, there were some private banks. The banking system, total banking system was operated, was in the hands of private entrepreneurs. But after nationalization of banks in 1969 and 1980, the total banking business comes under public sector. After that, in the year 1991, with the introduction of economic reforms and financial sector reforms, the government offered to open private banks in private sector. Like that, new banks and strategies of their thinking and as for their thinking, started operations. Okay, coming to Indian private banks. There are number of Indian private banks: Axis Bank, Bank of Rajasthan, Bharat Overseas Bank, Catholic Syrian Bank, City Union Bank, like this HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, Yes Bank, NG Vaishya Bank, IndusInd Bank, Karnataka Bank, Lakshmi Vilas Bank, like this. There are number of banks in private sector, and coming to non-scheduled banks. The banks which are not included in the second schedule of RBI Act 1934 is called as non-scheduled banks. The banks which are not included in the second schedule of the RBI Act is RBI Act of 1934 is called as a non-scheduled banks. These also have to maintain statutory cash reserves, but not with RBI. The non-scheduled banks are not mandatorily not to maintain statutory cash reserves at RBI. But whereas public sector banks has to maintain statutory reserves at RBI, their banking activities are limited. Example, they can't deal in foreign exchange. They can't deal in foreign exchange. Whereas public sector banks, all public sector banks can for example, can maintain deals with foreign exchange. So the share of these banks are almost all nil. As for the RBI statistics, there is no single non-scheduled banks in India. There is no single non-scheduled banks in India. Coming to in the third phase, cooperative banks. After commercial banks, cooperative banks plays a vital role in providing credit facilities to the rural artisans and rural businessmen. Cooperative banking is a small-scale banking carried on no profit, no loss basis. All cooperative banks in India are working on the motto of no profit and no loss basis for mutual cooperation and help. Engaged in financial, rural and agricultural development. Already, as I told, cooperative banks, the total cooperative banks in India are engaged in financing rural and agricultural development. They are established under the Cooperative Credit Societies Act 1904. There is a Act, Cooperative Credit Society Act. Under this Act, in India, cooperative banks have been established. Features of cooperative banks. If you see the features of cooperative bank, government sponsored, supported, and subsidized financial agencies in India work on the principle of cooperation, self-help, and mutual help. Work on the principle of cooperation, self-help, and mutual help. They function on no profit, no loss basis. This is the basic principle of the cooperative societies. And they perform limited banking functions, and some of them are scheduled banks, but most are non-scheduled banks. Cooperative banks are financial intermediaries only because a significant amount of their borrowings is from the RBI or NABARD, central and state government, and cooperative apex banks. So apex institutions. So coming to cooperative banks, we can see these are the cooperative banks. The Andhra Pradesh State Cooperative Bank Limited, APCAP, the Saraswati Bank, and Abhyudaya Bank. For every state in India, almost all every state is having one cooperative bank, at least one cooperative bank. These characteristics of cooperative bank: customer-owned entity and democratic control, profit allocation between cooperative members. And coming to list of foreign banks in India, there are a number of foreign banks started in India. For example, ABN AMRO Bank, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, American Express Bank, Citibank, DBS Bank Limited, and HSBC Limited, Standard Chartered Bank, like this. Some foreign banks are working in our India. Okay, uh, this is the banking structure in India. Oh, okay, uh, I think by this video, I am fulfilled what I am. I can say that I am explained how the banking system in India and what are the banks working in India. I have explained this one. Okay. For any queries or for any suggestions, please send me a mail at bazozvinod@gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you very much.